difficulty sleeping these days because you're either sleeping way too much and then not sleeping when you need to be. So we're here doing a live chat. My hair is blowing around behind me. Not because I'm a witch, as much as I'd like to be. My broomstick is in the shop, but because I've got the fan on behind me. So we're going to hang out here. Somebody came in the room. So welcome. Please introduce yourself because I can't see your name. And if you have any questions or something you'd like to chat about, go ahead and put it out there. So the way we're going to do this evening, I'm going to be on for about an hour, maybe a little bit longer. And I will answer questions on a first come, first serve basis as best I can. So if you ask, I promise I will acknowledge it, even if I can't answer it. So some questions I'm probably not going to answer are the silly ones, like when am I going to die? Am I going to become a millionaire? Will I become famous? So, more down to earth stuff. So please, you guys, if you don't mind, I would really like if you would introduce yourself so I know who I am talking to, because I'm seeing people out there, but I don't know who it is. Can everyone hear me? Hi, Eva. Hi, Pookie. Oh, and it would be interesting if you guys could tell me where you're from and what time it is right now where you're at. That would be useful as well. Hey, Suzanne. Oh, my Lord, it's so hot. West Virginia. West Virginia, it's an interesting thing. So for those of you who are not from this area, West Virginia is an interesting place. Oh, thank God it's not 3 a.m. in New Zealand. So in West Virginia, it's very southern. And, the jokes, of course, because it's a very mountainous region, is that, people in West Virginia have like a hillbilly culture or mountain folk culture. So you would expect, at least around here, all of the typical bigotry and backwardness that you would get in most of the deep southern states like Louisiana and Missouri, and Alabama and Arkansas. And there's some scary places down there. But in West Virginia, what's interesting is that they are literally their own kind of people. So there's a very independent sort of thinking in West Virginia that doesn't buy into party lines like the other southern states do. They remind me a lot of storms. Yikes. I'm telling you, it's so funny. Like there's these pockets of civilization out in the wilds that you're like not expecting until you actually have some time to spend there. And you're fortunate enough to get people to kind of open up to you and talk to you and stuff. And you really kind of hear how they think. So, I'm okay with West Virginia. I like West Virginia. It's beautiful. Oh my God, it's so beautiful out there. Why are we having this epidemic of narcissistic personality disorder? That's a great question. Can this sickness that is affecting the culture... My whole back is exposed. One of the things that I would say, and this is just literally me thinking this, right? Is the malignant narcissism that we're seeing a lot of. We're really seeing a lot of in people in positions of power. And here's the thing. It's not new. So malignant narcissism, there's a tremendous amount of narcissism that has to go into aspiring or having ambitions, and the wherewithal, the intestinal fortitude, the commitment to rising to those ambitions and getting to positions of leadership. You really have to want that to get there, right? And even sometimes, especially in corporate environments, at the expense of your personal life and your relationships. So the thing about it is, narcissism and leadership typically go hand in hand. We're learning this now, looking back at, our history and our history of leadership. So that's not an unusual thing. I think what is happening is because we are becoming more sophisticated as a culture, we're becoming more aware of what this is. And because there's so much more information that's available all the time across the board from every direction. It's harder to hide or manicure your image to leave all the ugly parts out anymore, right? So, and I had this conversation, we were talking about Neptune, right? And how Neptune gets a really bad rap, because Neptune, everybody blames Neptune for, it's all, smoke and mirrors and deception and whatever. Like, there's nothing new here. So the thing about it is, and I used Hollywood as an example because this is the perfect example. So think back to like the golden era of Hollywood, right? You had stars that were blatantly homosexual. Like, oh my God, honey, if they were any more of a queen, they wouldn't just be wearing the tiara, they'd be wearing her underpants and high heels, right? And nobody knew. Rock Hudson, and you guys may be too young to remember it. If you look him up, this guy, he was the hottie, like the hottie. If you look in the dictionary under hottie for golden era of Hollywood, it was Rock Hudson. So he was like the ultimate leading man. He was as gay as pink ink. And there were a whole bunch of them that had all these things going on. Judy Garland, the star in Wizard of Oz, had a whole history of drug abuse and extramarital affairs. And I think she may have even had given up a child for adoption or had an abortion. There, oh my God, a whole bunch of stuff, right? But you never saw any of this because Hollywood was very good about manicuring this information so that it didn't get out. So the only thing you ever saw was what was presented to the public. Because here's the important part. Back in the day, information was not as freely available as it is now. Okay, so we have access to a lot more information and a lot more 24/7 coverage of somebody's life and behavior than we ever did. So we're much more conscious of all the other stuff that goes with these people. So I don't know that narcissistic personality disorder is on the rise as much as we're becoming sophisticated enough as a people and a generation and a human race that we're able to see these things much more clearly and with much more understanding than we did before. So there's that. The other thing too is there's a whole thing with modern civilization and corporate culture, especially in this country, and how we raise our children, and I'm not going to blame the parents for this because it's not really about the parents. This is very much about the pressure on parents to need to raise their children with very little resources in terms of time and energy. Kids need a lot of time and energy, which people who are struggling to pay their bills don't have a lot of, and they're competing with all of these external influences on their children that are not good influences. So it is a Herculean task to be able to be there for your kids in the ways that they really need that are optimal, because a lot of people just don't have it. So I'm not going to blame the parents for being awful parents. I think everybody's doing the best that they can for their kids, with the exception of a handful that are just total douchebags. But I think for the most part, other people are doing the best that they can with what they have available. And unfortunately, the way our culture is set up, modern civilization is set up, it squeezes people, for as much as they can give to their jobs, and there's nothing left for them to take home to their families. And I think that's some of the problem too. Sorry, blah, 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 blah. Hello. Okay, so in order of appearance on my screen, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Hello to Eva and Pookie and Suzanne and Ms. Mary Johnson, who asked the phenomenal, heavy question. Ms. Nikki and Yellow Lemon and Nombre Apellido. Apellido. My Spanish is a little rusty. Actually, it's almost non-existent. And Ms. Donna. Good stuff. So, oh Lord, today. No, we like men here. If you know any, you're welcome to invite them over. Clearly, this would not be you. So I don't know what to tell you. This might be the anti-Bo channel. Oh my God. Thank you, Nombre. Okay, so let's start with something fun before the trolls get in and try to do all the attention grabbing in the room. And they will. Or they will at least attempt to try. So I have fortune telling cards. So if you guys would like your fortune told with tarot cards, or I think my crystal ball is around here somewhere, so we can do that. Okay, all right, yeah, bye. Please, God, don't ever let me be so desperate for attention that I have to resort to that. All right. So if you guys have questions, put them out there and we will get to them in the order that they arrive. Do we have a block button in here? Can we report this character? Because this is just not what I'm trying to hear about. And this is a great, by the way, this is a great example of what we can expect to see in tremendous evidence through the summer, right into the second week of September, is a lot of misplaced aggression and hostility and people throwing their weight around because they want you to acknowledge how important they think they are. So, step lightly around people's egos because there's a whole lot of that we're going to be dealing with for the next month or so. So quiet. I'm going to turn my fan back on. I am. It's mostly ignoring that it's kind of like when you're having a party and everything's cool and everybody's having a good time. There's always that one person that was not invited that strolls into the party and announces their presence by trying to make some kind of unpleasant noise to annoy everybody else because they want all the attention in the room. When they could just relax and join the party, and be embraced by everybody. All right, let me figure out how to get this character off our chat. There we go. Bye. Okay, so guidelines for questions are pretty much the limit is no questions about death, no lucky lottery numbers. And that's it. So you can ask anything. Do be aware that if you ask a silly question, you might get a silly answer or an answer that's not accurate. Also, financial, legal, medical questions, I'm a little leery of, and I'm always going to advise you to see the properly trained professional who deals with those things in the real world. So, oh my God. So we don't really have a limit on the questions. All right. So here's a great example. So Pookie, here's what I'm going to say. So the question is, are there opportunities coming? And it would seem like a great question, but because we don't have a lot of time and honestly, you want a specific answer. Try to be a little bit more specific. There's no limit on the number of questions. I mean, we'll just do questions while, as long as I have time. And I'll try to make sure that I get to everybody, but as specific as possible is best. Here. All right. All right. So let me work my way down my list here. So nombre apellido asks a question that is not necessarily a tarot question, but it is a very important question. So, and the question is, how do you recommend staying grounded spiritually with all the chaos going on? For example, ICE, raids, everything, Trump, etc. And this is a very good question because for the people who are more intimately affected by this or have, stakes in this matter, like this has just been an exhausting time. I've been sleeping a lot and not sleeping all at the same time. I'm so stressed out, you just don't even know. Self-care is a very important thing, and support. You've got to find people around you that you feel safe with, that care about you, that are invested in your well-being, that are there for you and, can talk you off the ledge when it gets bad. And if you need to sleep, and if you need to rest. One of the things that I would definitely recommend doing is grounding out through your physical body when you can find the energy to do something, right? So going to the gym and working out, doing some type of sport, doing something physical to get the energy in your body and make yourself strong and to clear out your head is literally the best thing right now. As far as keeping yourself spiritually clear, like this is an active testing time for our faith. And the more directly impacted you are by this, the more you're being tested. And the thing to remember is that nobody gets a test that's beyond their expected ability, right? So if you weren't believed to be strong enough and agile enough and developed enough to be able to pass this exam, you wouldn't be getting tested like this. And this is cold consolation when you're really going through the mill. But honestly, like nobody's going to give a calculus test to a dummy. Okay, so you got to surround yourself with people who support you and are invested in your well-being. You've got to go get physical and like work this energy out, work out this anxiety and angst and anger and just frustration and fear. Like we've got to go put it somewhere. So exercise and sport is an amazing thing. And again, if you need to sleep, if you need to eat. Self-care is so very, very important right now. And sometimes you need to shut down. So I wouldn't say ignore the news and avoid the news. It's a little difficult to do, right? And we need to be aware of what's going on, but definitely making it a point to go into neutral time, taking a time out from the world and doing meditation, or dropping into visualization, or actively going into prayer mode for a couple minutes a day makes a huge difference. We have to actively exercise our faith muscles right now. Okay. All right. So, Nikki, me and my best friend broke up yesterday, but I love him and he blocked me. All right. So, what is going on with Nikki's friend? Oh. Yeah. So, Nikki, I'm not completely sure what happened here, although I will say it does look like there is some question about where your loyalties lie, or where his loyalties lie. A question of loyalty seems to be coming up in this particular situation. And I don't, the bad news, the good news is you're going to survive this. And the bad news is I don't necessarily see this relationship being repaired immediately, as much as I think that there is a new relationship that's coming up with this. So this may be a very important time to just let go, just walk away and let go. Because either he's going to be replaced by somebody who is a better fit for you, or he is already on his way to being with somebody else. I don't necessarily see this being resolved between the two of you in the immediate future. So there's just no point in obsessing about something that's not going to work right now, because this is time. Don't waste your time with stuff you can't fix. Keep moving, All right. Any romantic love coming in soon, or even this year, maybe? This is for Emily. Oh my God. Yes. Oh my God. Yes. So Emily, in answer to your question, the answer is a resounding yes, girl. Oh yes. So, and also I would look for somebody who is either a student. So they're either somebody who's actively in school, or somebody who's literally just starting a brand new career for themselves. So there's this sense of somebody who's starting a brand new page or chapter in their life, and they're moving towards an elevation in their status. So that is your marker or guideline for who you're looking for. Good. No, but I hope it helps. I'm not even Hispanic or Latina, and I'm not sleeping. And when I do sleep, I'm sleeping too much. And the problem is where I'm living, I am apparently within 100 miles, just on a sidebar, you guys, I'm within 100 miles of a sanctuary city. And I had a friend of mine, a Caucasian, a white guy who's been my friend for 100 years, literally say to me, "Do you have a passport? Is it current?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he says, "Well, so I think what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to go ahead and pay for you to have your passport renewed, but I want you to keep it with you at all times." And then, of course, he explains to me that, we're within 100 miles of a sanctuary city, and ICE has jurisdiction everywhere within 100 miles of a sanctuary city, which means that because I look like I could be Hispanic or Latina, these idiots could easily pull me over randomly, and ask me for my ID, can I see your papers, right? At which point, like, I will lose my crap. And I will literally be tasered and cuffed and dragged off to thing because you've got to be kidding me. I speak better English than you. I run circles around you. Please, are you kidding? Oh, my papers? Honey, please. Anyway, so sorry. Yeah. So I'm not even somebody who's got something to worry about. And this is causing me no end of angst. All right. So how do here we go. Mm-hmm. You're done. All right. That was Nikki, and that was Emily, who's got great news, and Suzanne. Okay. Suzanne and future relationships. Huh. Yes and no, Suzanne. So here's the answer to your question, which is not really a simple, straightforward answer. So, so what I am seeing is that the relationships, romantic relationships, the intimate relationships are available to you, but not necessarily in the construct that you're looking for. So one of the challenges or hurdles that you're having is that in order for you to have a meaningful romantic or intimate relationship where you're connecting romantically and intimately and sensually with someone else is going to be dependent on your ability to open up your definition of what a relationship should be or look like, and consider the possibility that a differently configured relationship may be exactly what the doctor ordered. So all of this to say, and this is usually easy when I'm talking to people over 40. So for instance, if you're over 40, like we've grown up in a different time, and in the time we grew up in, there was only one way to have a relationship. You're either having one or you weren't, and it was just you and the other person, and that was it, right? And with the younger kids, it's oh my God, it's a very different world for them. So they are pioneers, you youngsters, in building their relationships in ways that suit them and not in ways that are required by social approval. So literally, they don't give a whit what other people think. They define their relationships in ways that make them happy and work for them and their lifestyles, which is brilliant. They're so awesome in that respect. What I'm seeing is it's the same thing for you. So one of the things that's going to happen in order for you to get there, you're going to have to get past the old programming about what a relationship should look like and open yourself up to the possibility that you can have a meaningful, intimate connection with somebody without it having to be a traditional relationship. So that's my answer. All right. Oh, she's starting college. Yeah, well, that makes all kinds of sense then. That's great, Emily. All right. All right, let me make sure I'm doing this in order. Suzanne, Nikki, and Emily. DFT. I am in such a bad place right now, and I'm looking to move out completely, just really struggling, wondering when all this stuff will end. Okay, so I want to be able to answer your question in a way that's going to be useful to you, like useful in a practical way, but I need something a little bit more specific to work with, because this is really vague and kind of general, and it might be vague in general because you don't want to put that much personal information out there. Totally get it. I totally get it. So yeah. One of the things, so with the question, the way you have phrased it, DFT, one of the things that I'm seeing right now is a couple of things that I'm seeing. So the first thing I'm seeing is a sense of isolation. So it almost feels like there's people around you and you've got things around, but you still feel alone, like you're doing this by yourself. Like people don't understand you, or you're not really connecting with other people. Like there's a sense of isolation or aloneness around you. And that's always going to make things worse. Always. So one of the things that I would recommend for your mental health while you're going through this time period is to find people that you can connect with on some level in some pleasurable way, whether it's, through art or comedy or like going out, like to, I don't know, casinos or whatever, right? Or even support groups, but you've got to find people that you can connect with and share things with that make you feel good at some level. It doesn't have to be, you have to bare your soul and spill your guts to people, but it does mean that you have to be able to feel like you're connected with people who get you at some level or another. So that's the first thing. The second thing, in terms of timing, we've got another, for you, it looks like at least another year. And there are financial considerations around this. There's a whole series of events that have to occur and a whole chapter that you have to reach before you can turn the corner and get into the place you're trying to go. So you got to buckle down and know that you got a bit of a haul in front of you. So you have to plan accordingly. So if you know that this is not going to change immediately and you're feeling really alone and unsupported, this is a very important time to go build your support networks, because you're not going to make time move any faster. Okay. The other thing that I'm seeing around this is it looks like you actually have a couple of options. So there are resources around you to work with and people to network with. And everything is going to come together. It's all going to kind of fall into place as soon as you make better connections with other people. So networking and making friends and building better social supports is the secret, or the magical key that unlocks this riddle of the Sphinx to kind of get your life moving forward. But for right now, I'm sorry, like this is going to be like this for just a little while longer. So you have to, plan accordingly. And that's not what you wanted to hear. All right. CDE is IS. CDE is CDE. Next, a new job for professional. Hi, next, a new job for professional and financial improvements. Any message for me? I think she's saying that they're next. CDE is CDE. The message that we are receiving is to enjoy yourself, to really take this opportunity to shine and like spread your wings and discover your strengths and your talents. And also be careful, because the love bug looks like it may be coming to bite as well. So that's always nice. Nombre apellido. I'm of Puerto Rican descent and work with Central American immigrants. Yikes. Yeah. It's unbelievable how ICE is tearing families apart. It feels like every day there's something to be angry about. I know. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. The thing that a lot of people don't understand, or just, they just don't understand, is that Central America is a war zone. And Central America, hi, surprise, welcome to American History 101. Central America is a war zone because of cocaine. And the cocaine that is down there in the war zone has become is ta-da, related to our interference with CIA under the Bush presidency. Pick one of them. And I'm pretty sure it was the first one. So we have participated in the de-evolution of Central America. And these poor people are trying to leave. Like, do you realize, like, think about how much it has to take for you to literally leave your residence right now behind, everything, your friends, your family, like your stuff, like your job, your identity, and take the clothes on your back and grab your kids and trek thousands of miles to a place you're not familiar with. You know what I mean? You don't even know if you're going to make it, and you're doing all sorts of criminals along the way, because, this is what happens when you're dealing with desperate people, and that there's a distinct possibility that once you get there, not only do you not speak the language very well, if at all, right? You're probably not even going to be welcome. Like, how desperate do you have to be that is still the better choice than staying where you are? Right. So, oh my God. Yeah. All right. Oh, Suzanne. Yeah. So married 22 years, ex died a year ago. It may not be time yet to pursue, deep, committed relationships, but certainly companionship is very important. And intimacy is very important. We need these things for mental health. We need to be touched for mental health. And I don't mean, dirty sex touch. I mean, just touched, in a friendly, loving way. So having those needs met is very important, but I don't necessarily know that anybody in your position would be in a great place to try and have a traditional monogamous relationship. So opening your doors to new possibilities and new configurations for relationship to have your needs met may be the healthiest response you can do right now to keep yourself together and to keep your life functional. Should I approach my son if he sits outside on my porch? And if so, when would be a good time? We are estranged and not speaking right now. Yeah, children. The joys of parenting are without end. Hey, Sean. Oh, yeah. Yep. Come back here. Okay, so this is for Cami. So what I would say, where your son is concerned, the information that I'm getting. So the first thing is pride is a very big deal. And with men in particular, especially young men right now with Mars retrograde and all the eclipses that we're heading into, pride is a huge deal, right? So, there's nothing more fragile and more powerful than a young man's pride. So pride is an issue for him, but also too, you are the locus of security in his life. So you are extremely important to him. Family is very important to him. He doesn't want to not be involved with you. He doesn't want to not be part of the family. But I feel like there's this wall of pride, right? That's preventing him from bowing his head and, kind of taking the first step. And also to remember, he's younger than you are, so he doesn't necessarily have those relationship skills. So he's learning how to navigate this type of emotional impasse in a relationship by what you do, right? So this is a great teaching opportunity for you to show him how to move past these situations when you end up there, right? Because you've had more experience than him. You're supposed to know this stuff. And the other thing is there's a lot of concern and fear, like more than being hurt, he's afraid of being humiliated. So the most important thing, and this totally ties into the thing with pride, the most important thing in this situation with your son is to create an environment or an understanding, make sure that he understands and that you stick with this, that you can make amends, that you can both cross this bridge and come back together and have a meaningful dialogue with each other without him ending up humiliated for it. So if you're not sure how anything you could say or do would humiliate him, then you're not ready to have this conversation with him yet. So remember, you're the adult here only because you've got more time on the timeline. You've got more mileage. So you're supposed to know how to do this stuff. Certainly better than he does. He's still learning how to find these tools and use them. You're supposed to have at least acquired a couple of them along the way. So creating an environment where he understands and knows that he will not be humiliated and his pride will not be placed on a stake for bending in this situation so that amends can be made is the secret to making this work for the long term and not ending up here again. Because he seems to be a very, very proud boy, but he's also very loyal and he's very committed to his family. All right. Oh, Mary, I'm so sorry. All right. So Mary asked, will this abuse that I'm receiving from this community I live in ease up soon? Total smear campaign. So, yes, yes, it is. Mm. So, one of the things that I'm seeing is this looks like this started or originated from a conflict with a specific person. So you and somebody else, one person in particular, really crossed swords, and that's where this has started. The way to get through this: time, patience, endurance, and also creating or participating in the community. So at some point, you're going to have to create an opportunity for people to either embrace you as part of the family, or you're going to have to create some type of uh, family gathering. Like a tribe gathering or a community gathering where people come together, break bread with each other, and let bygones be bygones. So inviting people in your home or creating a party, like a community party or a block party, this sort of stuff where it's people coming together and setting their differences aside and breaking bread with each other, right? But in this particular situation, you're going to need time. You're just going to have to ride this out and endure as best you can, because whoever it is that you crossed swords with, like they're in this, like they're digging their heels and they're not going to let it go. It will pass, but it will not pass immediately because whoever this person is not interested in letting things go, as it were. Mm. Moving in soon, my partner of 5 years. Oh my God. Congratulations, I think. Um, is there anything I need to be aware of or advice I need? No, it should be lovely. I think the biggest thing to be aware of is going to be learning how to negotiate finances, because it looks like one of you is very invested in long-term financial security, and the other one is very invested in enjoying your money while you're here. Um, so, and this can create some challenges. So being able to come together to a mutually agreeable place about spending habits and saving habits will make life a lot easier for the both of you, so that one of you is not digging your heels in and the other is not running out with a credit card and running up the credit limit out of spite. Well, Debs, I understand preferring to keep to yourself. I totally get it. It's much easier to keep to yourself than to keep putting yourself out there and getting hurt by people. But for you in particular, I really feel like you need to go find people that you can connect with on some level. And it doesn't have to be a deep level; it could be a superficial level. But you really need to find people to connect with that kind of get you, because you got to be able to manage yourself during this time until you can turn the corner. So there's that. Evelyn, I am a Pisces and I'm dealing with a Gemini. And we haven't been talking because we broke up, and I keep wondering if he'll come back because I really love him. Oh. So, Evelyn, Gemini men, Gemini women, Geminis. Jeez Louise. I don't have to pull a card. I can tell you he will come back, because that's what Geminis do. They go away, they come back. They go away, they come back. They never really go very far. They're like yo-yos. You throw them away and they keep coming back. What do you mean we can't be friends? Don't you just want to talk? So yes, he'll be back. And Pisceans are so romantic and so desirous of making things work, especially when they feel like they've connected with you. So you loving somebody who's erratic is not unexpected. So yes, he'll be back and he'll go away and he'll come back and he'll go away and he'll come back and go away many, many times in the course of your acquaintance with him, because that's just what they do. Cammy, and anybody else, just so you guys know, I have the memory of a goldfish, and so literally I won't remember a lot of this stuff. So if you, oh, okay. Right. So when you say things like, remember you said blah, blah, or I told you, like, it's not because I wasn't paying attention, and it's not because I don't adore you. It's literally because I have the memory of a goldfish. So I don't keep this stuff in my head too often. So what this is to say is that when you say stuff that I should be remembering, you might want to like give me a little more information to jog my memory, because I won't remember it. So if you say things like, that thing you said was right or wrong or whatever, like, I'm not going to know what I said to you unless you tell me. Sorry. Okay. Valerie, me and my husband really want to move. Do you have any feelings on where we should consider looking? I just know I don't want to live here, but don't know where. Yeah. That's a complicated question, because a physical move is a very big deal. And right now, depending on where you're living, people move for economics as much as they do social reasons, right? So we should consider looking. So I'm going to ask the question. I'm not completely sure. I'm not completely sure the answer is going to come up. So the information that I am getting is you might want to cool your jets for just a little bit, because I'm getting a distress sale on a property or just land that is available, or physical, a physical house or residence that is going to become available. And there's distress around this. It's almost as if they have to get rid of it, or they have to sell it at a loss or something like that. That will increase in value over time. The other thing that this could easily represent is moving to an area that is not economically robust, but will turn a corner and become much more pivotal in terms of professional security and advancement, literally almost immediately after moving there. But I don't know. I can't give you a specific location, because we'd actually need to look up your charts to make an actually more serious consideration of this, because I'm not going to tell you to, move someplace next to water, and then have you move and it be the wrong place. Like that's too big a commitment to give bad advice on, and not from general information like this. So that's unfortunately the best I can give you for an answer. Well, hello, Suzanne. Hey, Donna. Hello. Am I going to lose my health? Oh, Jesus. I'm going to lose my healthcare coverage. Oy. So, Donna, the first thing I want to say is anytime you get a reading from anybody, take it with a grain of salt. There's always the distinct possibility that we could be wrong. There is that possibility. The other part of this is that no matter what we see, you have the ability to move this ship in another direction, unless this is something very specifically fated for you to deal with, because you are supposed to have this experience to develop some quality within yourself. Everything else, you can change the course of the ship. And all of this is to prepare you for the fact that the answer I'm about to give you is not the best answer that you're going to want to hear, right? So the answer I'm getting as far as you losing your health coverage, there is the very distinct possibility that yes, you will. And it looks like it will be, this looks like a Libra month. So September, October it looks like this is when this is going to change. But then immediately along with this, or immediately after this, it looks like things are kind of in limbo. So it's almost like there's this suspension of the insurance, or the suspension of the cutoff from the insurance. So there's a little bit of a time lag in here before things get weird. Now, the important part about this is that there is a way to get through this, but you're going to have to be very proactive about managing the situation to your benefit. And I don't know what that means. And it looks from here, you're not sure what that means either. But this is the time to start examining it. So right now, while you have insurance, this is the time to start doing the research. as far as contingency plans, because this is not looking great. I can't give you a confident yes on that. Okay. A gang of flying monkeys. Jesus. Sorry. This is not funny, but that's a great image. Oh, I like flying monkeys. Those little vests and hats. All right. Yeah, Valerie, I would just wait. There are things that will come into play in the near future, not necessarily immediate future and not the distant future, but in the near future, there are things that are going to come into play that are going to impact your choices as far as where it is desirable to move. So as much as you want to get out of where you're at right now, let the universe unfold a little bit more, because there's stuff coming up that you're not seeing yet. Now, I just want you guys to know, like, those of you I've done these readings for, you are required out of moral obligation to me to come back and let me know how this all plays out for you. Because now, of course, we all want to know, right? All right. And Allison, so we do specific questions here. I'm not really good with general questions. So the more specific the question is, the easier it is to get a specific answer. Because otherwise we'll be here for a week trying to fish around for useful information. I'm all about useful information and practical stuff. So like we're all about getting down to the meat here, right down to the bone. Jen, do you connect with people on the other side? So, Suzanne, that's a great question. And my answer is this: I do not practice mediumship, and I will not tell people I practice mediumship, because when I was first learning about this stuff, I attended this spiritualist church, like the real spiritualist church, where they were waiting for you to, you would go into seance after services, and, we'd contact the dead and get the trumpet to move, and, apparitions to appear, like the real deal, right? From way back in the day, long before Rumpha and the channeling nonsense. So for me, when we talk about contacting the other side, whether it's me doing it or somebody else doing it, like I want to see good, old fashioned, old guard, old school mediumship. Because if it's not, then you're channeling or basically being a psychic, right? So unless and until I can go into a deep trance and remove myself from the equation, and spirit can use me as a vehicle to speak through me, like Edgar Cayce used to do, I don't say or claim to talk to the side. I receive information like any other psychic receives information, because spirit is constantly trying to talk to us in whatever way we'll listen. But as far as being a vehicle for them to speak through, until they're actually speaking through me, I don't make that claim. So there. Yeah, I don't know that the spiritualist churches are anything like it used to be. But nothing is like it used to be. Time marches on, and the world changes around us, and everything evolves and shifts and metamorphosizes into other things. So, yeah, and from what I understand, the new spiritualists doing a lot of their mediumship, it's all channeling stuff, which I'm not thrilled about. But a church has got to keep their door open too, right? All right. I feel okay. So Nombre, I want to answer your question, but I want to get to some new people first, and then I'm going to circle back and come back to you. So the next question down is static age. Nothing specific, but can I get a general pull advice? So static, I would love to answer your question, but I do specific questions. I'm all about practical stuff, like useful information. So the more specific it is, the easier to get a specific, useful answer, because otherwise we'll be here a week. So when you have something specific, and it doesn't matter what it is, it doesn't have to be anything earth shattering. We can pull for that. And what's your sun sign? How did you get into astrology? So my sun sign is pain in the ass rising. And I got into astrology in my teens because literally I was having a very difficult time understanding why people did what they did. I didn't find people to be very kind or pleasant or rational or nice. Or reasonable. People were just awful. They were awful around me. They were awful to me. They were awful to the people that I cared about. I didn't understand what drove people to be so not nice people. So learning astrology was a way, I guess it was the teenager's way of accessing some form of pseudo-psychology to try and make sense of the world and people around me, because the religion wasn't doing it. Religion was not answering my questions or giving any type of meaningful explanation as to why these people were acting like horses' asses, or worse. So that's why I got into astrology, because I really wanted to get information in understanding the psychology of people. But, when you're 17, you're not going to college. You're not a psych major. So this was the next best thing until I could access that level of information about the human mind and the psyche and people's behaviors. All right. And thank you, Nombre. Thank you for understanding. Will my daughter do well going to college? This is from Allison. Well, that's a great question. And she should perform well. I don't see any problems with... I don't see any problems with her performance in school. However, I do see some issues. I'm so sorry. With finances, or her father. I'm not completely sure what that is. So money may be a source of anxiety for her, which could impact her ability to perform better. And the other thing, the choice of men in her life is going to be very important as far as her ability to complete college. So she's going to, it's going to be very important to try and encourage her to stay with people who have goals, and who are also trying to do something themselves, and preferably people who are also in school, because people who are not in school, especially young men, and this is not a sexist thing, I've seen this happen over and over and over again. So young women who are unsure, insecure about whether they really want to do this, have the ability to get themselves pregnant accidentally, unconsciously, as a cop-out to not complete school, to literally undermine themselves. The same problem works in the other direction. If you have an insecure young man who's with a young girl who's trying to make a better life for herself, which could put him in a position where he gets left behind, it's very easy for him to accidentally, on purpose, get her knocked up. And this isn't to say that this is all malice. I mean, these people are not going around having, getting each other pregnant because, they're evil people. That's not what this is about. This is human nature. And I've seen this over and over and over again. So she should be able to perform well. Money may be a bit of an anxiety issue, but the most important thing for her to stay on track and to complete college, she's really going to have to focus on spending time with young men who also have similar goals, because I think there's going to be too much of a difference in potential outcomes for the future if she's with somebody who's not also in school. And that insecurity on her part and or his part is not a good recipe for her finishing school. So there's your long answer. And oh my gosh, got all these people in the room. This is awesome. All right, so let me go back to Nombre, and then we're going to come back down again. I feel like a new career path is opening up. Is there anything I should know? Yes, focus. Focus, Nombre. Focus. All right. Mr. Gerardo, what type of work should I pursue? Because I hate my job with a passion. Oh, honey, stand in line. That is the worst feeling in the world, having to get up every day and go deal with something that you absolutely hate. It's worse than being married to somebody you don't like. So, holy shit. So I'm not going to do Mr. Gerardo. I'm not going to do career counseling using cards because that's, again, like moving. It's a big commitment. So one of the things that I would say is that it's more important for you to take an assessment of your skills and your education at this point and what's available to you in your area. Because, you know, listen, you can want to be a rocket scientist and be talented enough to be a rocket scientist all you want. But if you're living in the slums of Calcutta, it's going to be a little difficult to be a rocket scientist. I'm just saying, sometimes we're limited by our circumstances. So with that said, we need to examine like what you're working with in terms of career changes that make the most sense for you and your temperament. What I'm seeing here, and I don't know if this is what you're currently doing or if this is something you've done before. I don't know how this fits into your question, but what they're showing me is drug counseling. Or addiction counseling, something where it's like support counseling, not necessarily deep psychotherapy. So some type of counseling with people who are in less than optimal places with themselves and in their lives, and getting them up, you know, on their feet, as it were, psychologically, and onto the playing field is what is coming up. And I don't know what that has to do with your career choices up to this point or future career choices, or if this has to do with your personal history. I don't know. So I'm just telling you what I got. Well, Nikki, as far as the question about loyalty, that I don't know, and I'm not going to venture a guess on that. So, this is definitely a question that is better answered by you to yourself. So I'm going to let you sit with that and sort that question out, because that's a question you definitely know the answer to. You don't need me to tell you. And if you don't know the answer to that, then that's definitely something you need to sit and work out on your own. And I'm saying that with nothing but love. All right. Oh, got all kinds of people now. Jesus. All right. All right. Oh, Christ almighty. All right. So you're going to go away. Yeah. Sorry, kids. I'll be right with you. Good. Okay. All right. So that's taken care of. Sorry about that. All right. Apellido, you're so funny. You're a dick. All right. I know, right? And they wonder why they can't get women to talk to them. Jeez Louise, the goats would be afraid of these guys. Ugh. Oh, man. I went to a healing group for the first time this week, which was very relaxing. Is it the right thing for me to pursue, to learn how to do healing for others? Not sure about which techniques. That's a great question. Sorry. So the healing group or the relaxation group. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Ugh. The healing group, I think, is a phenomenal thing, and it's going to be a fantastically powerful experience for you, very life-changing. And certainly if it's within your means to do this, and you should pursue this. As far as I don't know. I mean, so all interactions that we have with other people that are supportive and life affirming are healing interactions. So the whole point of being here is to assist and support in the healing of other people. Listen, we come into this life through trauma. Like childbirth is a traumatic experience. There's nothing not traumatic about being pulled out of, this warm, safe place into this cold, bright room with, people wearing these weird green suits and masks. Oh my gosh, and then having your umbilical cord cut, and this, that, and the other, your mother screaming. Oh, listen, childbirth, you come into this world in trauma, and everything that we experience after that is some level of trauma or insult. So everything that we do with each other is intended to be healing for each other. That's why we're here. That's why we're here for each other. So as far as learning how to do healing for others, sure, absolutely. I mean, everything we do should be about healing and giving healing to others, as well as working on ourselves. And this is not easy, or we would be living in a much different world. So if it's within your means to do it, absolutely pursue it. All right. Wow. So Static, you got to understand that I am apparently from a whole other generation, which is kind of like being from another country, because I sort of recognize the words, but I still don't have any idea what you're saying. So I'm thinking that you're much younger than I am, and this is your language is a completely foreign language to me. So the message that I'm reading is stupidly dropped a male friend, stupidly. And when I went to reconnect, he dropped me back. So I know it's English because I recognize the words, but as God is my witness, I feel like I'm talking to a Scot or a British person, because there's words in here. I'm like, I know the words, but I don't know what you're saying. So I'm thinking you mean you guys broke up with each other, maybe? I'm not sure. I'm totally confused. I'm confounded. And the answer I am getting is to... Oh, yeah, just wait. It'll sort itself out. This is not that big a deal. Well, I don't know, Nikki. Again, this is something you have to sort out for yourself, or have a conversation with them about. Or maybe somebody who knows them can help you understand what that's about. And, again, folks, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I am still human. I'm not infallible. All right. So it has been an hour. So this was fun. Thank you guys so much for sharing this time with me. Oh, you are speaking a different language. She's 21. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, just listen, just relax. Don't worry about it. Just, countdown days. It will sort itself out almost immediately. It won't last that long. And you guys will be back to talking again. All right. So, well, thank you so much. I think you guys are lovely, with the exception of, the frustrated goat herders in the audience. Oh my gosh. Yeah, geez Louise, I don't understand what's wrong with these boys. So, but at the end of the day, it's all about the love. It is all about the love. And everything that we are here to do with each other is about supporting each other and healing each other and improving ourselves so that we can be a better version of ourselves. If we're not accomplishing those things, none of this amounts to anything. Because listen, you know, and I know, and we're all seeing it playing out right now. You can have all the money in the world, all the power, all the status and influence. And if you're a big, nasty jackhole who's got all the priorities of a pariah, right? And all the values of a selfish slug, all of those glamorous things amount to absolutely nothing, because nobody who's worth anything wants anything to do with you, because the only other people that are going to come near you are other pariahs and parasites, you know? So it's all about the love. It's all about the love. It's all about supporting and healing and helping each other and being a healing force in other people's lives and being the better version of ourselves, because it is better to be loved, you know, and a humble janitor than to be used and hated and reviled and be the most powerful person on the planet. All right. I am definitely going to try and get to sleep before 4 a.m. these days. I miss sleep. I really miss sleep. But you guys were awesome. So again, thank you so much for sharing this time with me. This was great. And I will be popping on and off periodically, you know, as whim and need arises. So if you see me pop on for a live stream, absolutely, you're more than welcome and encouraged to come back and join me. Except for the goat herding freaks out there. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and, you know, if you have people that you know that are looking for something a little bit more down to earth, practical, not woo woo la la astrology psychic stuff, then you might want to turn them onto my channel as well, because there's a whole lot of airy fairy woo woo la la going on, which is nothing new. And there's nothing wrong with it. But right now, we really need to be a little bit more grounded and a little bit more realistic about what's in front of us. We can't keep pretending that it's not as bad as it is, right? And which reminds me, and this is the last thought I had before I go. If you have not watched the video for the July eclipses, I strongly urge you guys to take some time over the next couple of days. I think it's about an hour long, to go and watch the video. We're in for some hella times this summer, and I want you all to be prepared for it, and be safe. More than anything else, I want you guys to be safe. So watch the video, because it talks a lot about this Aquarius eclipse and what we're looking at and who we're dealing with and how we need to navigate this so we all come out of this in one piece. Okay? Because the problem is not going to be coming from the places you expect them. So, all right, now I'm definitely going. See how you guys, like, all right, talk to you later. Bye.